Almost feel like a surgeon here. Precision cutting.
I can't take the sand. I'll leave you to it.
In the repair shop today,
This should just lift off.
David takes one small step with a treasured toy grounded by space debris.
There's a lot of muck and dust in there.
Because of the fragility, I only have one shot at gluing, and that makes me rather anxious.
And Susie faces dramas, saving the complete works of Shakespeare.
So, let's bite the bullet.
First, a shattered symbol of the bond between Amanda Fisher and her mum.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Right, thank you.
What have we got in the box?
I bought for you my mum's jewellery box.
Will, if you don't mind joining us.
Hello.
Hi there, nice to meet you.
You too.
It used to be a jewellery box.
This is a jewellery box that was my mum's, so my dad bought it for my mum when I was very, very small. It would have been about 1969. I was about 3. Yeah.
Oh, what's Mum and Dad's names?
Carol and Ron. He was a contractor, so he would go off working for like weeks at a time and leave my mum with all 3 of us. So I think this was, he was probably going away on a contract and left this for her.
Do you remember Mum getting the jewellery out and putting it on and stuff?
I remember me using it quite a lot because I was always trying necklaces on and rings and earrings and, prancing around in my high heel shoes, clippity-cloppeting. I can still see her really sitting at her dressing table getting ready. And she would have her jewellery, her rings in here and her necklaces. And my mum did actually give it to me for my 16th birthday. I'd asked for a jewellery box, expecting her to buy me a jewellery box, and she gave me this.
Was this better than buying one?
Yeah, she knew how much I loved it.
That's good.
I think it was the music. I used to always be winding up the music.
Oh, it plays music as well?
Yes, yeah. I think the music part I broke probably as a child.
I've never seen a jewellery box in that condition. What's happened to it then?
Sadly, about 8 years ago, I was burgled and they took it. Lots of stuff they threw away a couple of streets away, and unfortunately, you can see it was a wet November day and it's been run over
Is
by
it a tyre track?
Yes, that's tyre tracks. So when I found it, it was so upsetting. The memory of the jewellery box, if it had gone and stayed gone, would have still been the happy memories. But obviously this, all the broken mirror is still inside, so that would have been mirrored as you lifted it up. I literally just tied it up in a bag and put it under the stairs and didn't want to deal with it, didn't want to throw it away.
Is Mum and Dad still with us?
No, sadly they both have passed away now, so in a way that's a blessing really, because she would have been devastated.
Is this the only thing you've got left of Mum?
This is pretty much it, yeah.
So that's why you kept it for so long in a bag.
Yeah, definitely. We were really close. And I was the youngest, I was the baby. We were really close.
Yeah. What would you like us to do to it?
Just having it looking a bit back to how it was.
Yeah.
I'd just like some of my happy memories back, really.
We've got to get this fixed. OK?
Good.
Amanda, thank you for bringing this in. It's in safe hands here.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming
I'm so
down.
excited to come back. Lovely. Thanks
We'll see
very
you
much.
soon.
You take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Jay.
I didn't know it was that broken. There you go, that's yours, mate. Make a start.
It is in pieces, many pieces. I've actually started off by taking out all the broken mirror and putting it into a bag. This has to be the first object that's ever come into the barn with a tyre track on it. I think all the pieces of the box are still here. I'm hoping all of this can be glued back together to make one complete box once more. The way that this box works is there's a button. When the lid is shut, the button goes in, the music stops. When the lid opens, the button comes out. This should play lovely music, but at the moment it's seized up. I'm going to see if Steve Kember can help out with the mechanism, First of all, I'm going to give it clean. And there's tie marks coming off really nicely. I'm hoping what's going to return to what it was meant for, happy memories.
Steve Hann from East Sussex is next to touch down at the barn with a space-age wonder that's no longer out of this world.
There he is. Hello.
Hello there.
You all right?
Very good, thank you.
It's up to toy wizard David Burville to relaunch it.
Now that is, it's a UFO, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Yeah. This I've had for 63 years. It was given to me by my grandparents when I was 7 years old. They'd been on a trip to Canada and brought me this back as a present.
Wow.
In those days, it really was quite special. I mean, never seen anything like it.
So what does it do? Does it fly up?
No. You switch it on.
Yeah.
It's on wheels. It goes along as it hits a wall.
Yeah.
It turns and goes off in another direction.
Really?
But the really good thing is, what I loved about it as a kid is when these wheels turn, see the little guy in there? He looks like he's steering it. And when you're 7 years old, believe me, he is steering it.
Yeah. You believe he's really doing it?
Yeah.
What's Grandad's name?
Well, he was William, but known as Bill.
Bill.
He's a lovely, lovely man. Kind, gentle, can't think of a nicer person, to be honest with you. When I was born, my mother and I lived with my grandparents till just before I was 2 years old.
Yeah.
Because my father was doing his national service in Egypt.
Right.
So my granddad almost became like a replacement dad. And so the bond we had was
Special.
totally unique, most significant person in my life, if you like.
Yeah.
You spend lots and lots of time with him, lots of time with him. You know, you get to that stage where your teeth fall out, you know, you're about 10, 11.
Yeah.
I always used to go to my granddad and he'd give me his handkerchief and he'd say, wiggle it a bit, and he'd help me get my teeth out. There's those sort of things, you know, that's the sort of, probably shows how close it was. And when you've had that experience, you want to relay that to your grandkids. Yeah, my grandkids mean everything to me. I love them to bits and I know they love me to bits.
So who are you getting this fixed for? Is it for you or your grandchildren?
For the grandkids, yeah.
You don't want to play with it no more?
Well, Jay, come on. Come on. They're not going to get hands on it straight away. I've got a few years left in me yet for playing with it, but...
So when's the last time this was working?
My early teenage years.
Really?
Because the battery compartment there, I think as a kid I probably left the batteries in too long, noticed they'd gone a bit corroded, so I took the batteries out and just thought, it's too precious really to mess around with.
OK. So what would you like David to do to it? Because you want it to be working, but cosmetically, how do you want it to look?
I suppose, ideal world, if you could get it back to original condition, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And if it was to then actually work and start moving around, fantastic.
Yeah.
OK. I think we could do that, can't we?
We got to have a little play with it first, I think.
Just to test it.
Yeah, test him for several weeks.
Can I trust him with it?
You can trust
Is
him.
he all right?
He's really good.
Okay.
Steve, thank you for bringing us in. You take care now.
All the best. Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That is quality. I can't wait for you to get that working.
Oh, God, yeah. I think this is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I've never seen anything like this, but the batteries are left in and then they leak and the acid then starts to eat away at the metal. This insulation board at the end of the battery compartment is really crucial. It's got the actual contacts that the batteries clip into, and this has really been eaten away. And without this, the whole thing just won't work. So I think I've got my work cut out trying to remedy that. The next thing is to clean this plastic dome, get that as clear as possible. But the first thing I'm going to do is strip it all down. And this should just lift off. Now I can see inside it. I can see it really needs a good clean. There's a lot of muck and dust in there, but I can get the motor out now, and we'll just make sure that that's actually functioning. Well, that is brilliant.
Will has finished his clean-up of the crushed jewellery box, the first step in its tricky restoration.
All the dirt's gone, and more importantly, that tyre mark has gone as well. I'm really pleased with the outcome. What I need to do now is stick all these loose parts back into one box shape.
While Will works on the box, Steve Kember is applying his talents to reviving the silenced musical mechanism.
It's looking grubby and dusty, which is sort of what you'd expect, really, bearing in mind that everything was run over. I put the winding key back on. Oh, hang on, look at that. Look, that's wonky. That's a little bit of a symptom of being run over, I think, there. You can hardly blame it for being bent. Oh, we're off. There's a bit of corrosion on the comb, and the mechanism's a bit sluggish, but I don't think any of the pins on the cylinder are bent. Hello, it's stopped. It was quite a relief that it's moving, so that's sort of encouraging, because there's no deep trauma, so that's great. We've got the basis of a good restoration here. So I can start dismantling now. Comb here, this is the actual tuned piece of the mechanism that produces the music. One tooth equals one note. And underneath here you can see there's some little marks there. There's been a little grinder bzz, bzz, in there to remove a bit of material to raise the pitch of the note, and that's how you tune these things. They never go out of tune unless there's rust or there's some mass has been added or removed from the comb. So I've got all the four main components removed from the bed plate. I'm now going to give them a good clean, make any corrections that are necessary, and then we'll be able to reassemble it. Right. The ultrasonic tank shakes the debris out from all the nooks and crannies within the mechanism. Very effective way of cleaning things, but noisy too.
Well, I've glued up the base. Now I'm turning my attention to the top of the box. I'm going to make sure that this sits nice and flat, because the mechanism for the music relies on this tiny pin that pops up. The top needs to sit exactly flush for that to work properly.
Everything's lovely and clean, so that's great, and I'm ready to move on to the next stage of the restoration, which is applying the dampers. To get a good clean sound, a musical box tooth has to be still when it's touched by an approaching pin on the cylinder. If it's still moving, you get a buzz or a squeak, and it just degrades the sound. So to solve that problem, we stick a little damper to quell any residual vibrations that are going on when it's needed. The job of applying dampers is a bit of a fiddle, but it's well worth taking that little bit of extra time to get it right. The quality of the sound is very dependent on the quality of the application of these dampers. Next stage is I've got to trim those dampers. I won't know that I've done a super job until I hear the results, but I'm pretty confident that we've done well.
I'm just mixing up some acrylic paint here, just to blend in the damage. Finally, the music box is looking like a box again.
Hopefully that's in the right place. Look at that, look. Off we go. Beautiful. And if I listen, I can't hear anything. So sometimes when you get warm gears, you get a and there's none of that. Very nice. A few more finishing touches, and I think we're ready to put the mechanism back into its case.
Arriving next, Isla Smith from Oxford with a pint-sized Victorian tribute to creativity. It's in dire need of leather restorer Susie Fletcher's expertise.
Hello there.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Have you brought us cake?
No, actually. I brought you a miniature complete works of Shakespeare.
Oh,
so
my
the box
word.
is in a pretty poorly state, but when you open it, there they are.
My word. Aren't they gorgeous?
The books are absolutely immaculate, and they're 125 years old.
No way.
Yes, because
Oh my goodness.
they were a prize for my grandmother in 1897 when she was 12. And she won a prize for needlework, and she chose that, and she just loved it. And so I love it too.
Yes, I can imagine so. And what's your grandmother's name?
Kathleen.
Kathleen.
Yes.
So was she a seamstress or?
She actually taught needlework and embroidery and illuminated writing. And unfortunately, her husband died 3 years after they were married, when my father was only 18 months old.
Oh.
So she had to sort of find a way of making a living. And so she sort of picked up work where she could, and she did make a little go a long way.
Were you very close to your grandmother?
Well, she was the only grandparent I actually knew.
Oh.
And so I guess we were tremendously important to each other.
What are your earliest memories of this beautiful collection?
I just sort of remember seeing it on the bookcase. And I used to, as you do when you're a child, I learnt each volume is listed here.
Okay.
And I sort of used to test myself on, so long before I knew about Shakespeare, I could tell you which volume Cymbeline was in. Anyway, I just loved it, and I just liked looking at it.
So you say the books are fine?
Yes.
Yeah. What's wrong with the case?
Well, it's really had a bit of a bashing. And, I mean, it fits, when you put it on, you can see how well it has fitted. It will have had a hinge, I think.
Right.
And it will also have had a catch at the front, which then went into that. But it's been like that since ever I knew it.
Okay. And what would you like me to try to do?
I think do it justice, really. I mean, it's never going to look the way it looked when she trotted up and got it at the prize giving.
Right.
And probably nor should it. It's just that the books are so lovely, and the case is just so not.
Yeah. Well, she sounds as if she was a remarkable lady that was very resourceful, so I will be thinking of her while I'll be tackling this.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing this in. It is a first for me, and I know I'm going to really enjoy working on this for you.
Thank you very much.
All right, you take care.
Bye-bye.
The challenge here is that even though the leather is really, really brittle, I feel it's really important that I keep this lid and maintain that history. I'm really quite nervous because I have to remove the leather itself, and I'm afraid if I just take my scalpel, this leather is so dry, it will just crack away. So I just got some conservation leather dressing here. This will do a nice job of softening up the leather, but also to remove any dust and dirt. What I'm going to have to do is figure out how best to remove that leather, replace the padding underneath, and rebuild that structure of the leather and blending new leathers in so it can all be reattached to this lid and hopefully get it back closer to how it originally looked. I think this is going to be a very difficult repair, but I feel it's always worth that extra effort to salvage what you have.
Look at that. That looks good, doesn't it? Good on you.
Thank you.
David has been putting all his energy into a complete overhaul of the flying saucer's inner workings.
The mechanism is all nice and cleaned up, the motor's running, so that's ready to go back in.
Now the acid test is reversing years of corrosion.
Well, that's the battery box removed, and this piece of insulation board is just turned to almost felt. So that's definitely got to be replaced. This material is a kind of fibre board. It's basically like a cardboard. With tin plate toys, you do run the risk of the body becoming live with the power. So this insulates the batteries from the actual body of the machine. That seems to line up really well. What I'm going to do now is clean up the metalwork, put that all in place, and that should do the trick. I'm going to attempt to re-polish the dome of the flying saucer. It's really gone cloudy, so much so that the little guy that operates the UFO, you can hardly see him. This is a really early form of plastic. It's really delicate and you have to be really careful. You cannot use anything that's oil-based or spirit-based. It could just crack, and that would really be the end of it. So I'm going to use a product which is used for cleaning car headlights. This is actually a very mild form of abrasive or polish, and it will, on a microscopic level, take a very thin layer away, so it should reveal a clearer layer beneath. And then hopefully he's going to be able to see where he's flying. It's certainly starting to look a little bit clearer, so I might give that a little bit more of a carry on.
Steve and Will's team effort on the musical jewellery box is building to a crescendo.
Look at that. Wonderful. That's really nice. The last things I need to do now is get the mirror in place and get this over to Steve. Steve.
Hi, Will.
I've come bearing a gift. Now, the mirror was broken, it was in pieces, it's in good form now, so be very careful.
I mustn't look at it too much then,
No.
that's what you're saying.
Thanks, Steve.
Right, cheers, Will. I don't want to disrupt any of Will's fine work here, so I need a little bit of light on the subject, and I need some glasses. It's not going to be the easiest of exercises.
Silent for many decades, stolen and then run over, the jewellery box had been robbed of the joy it used to give.
Steve, finished?
Oh, yep, here we are. I've got something for you.
Sounding all right?
Yeah, but you'll have to wait and see.
Well, we're going to have to wait and hear.
Yes.
Wonderful.
I'll leave you to it.
Thanks, Steve.
All right.
Having loved the box since she was little, Amanda is hoping it can once again evoke memories of her mum.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
How you doing, Amanda?
A bit nervous. It was in a bit of a state, wasn't it, to be honest?
I think a state is an understatement, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So I don't really know what to expect.
You want to see it again?
Yes.
Come on, Will. Do a stillness.
My goodness. It's just how it was. The tie mark's gone. Oh, wow. I really honestly didn't think it would look like it did. Oh, it's just so perfect. Oh, I just don't know what to say. And the music. I honestly just can't believe it. Oh, goodness. You've actually worked a miracle. I don't know. You must have like a magic wand.
I can only take credit for the box. The music,
Oh,
This young man
thank
here.
you so much.
Steve.
Pleasure. Bit of a spruce up in the service and the way it went.
Thank you. It's just beyond any expectations I had.
Oh.
You know, and I can sit on the dressing table with my jewellery in.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing my hair and that, it'll be there just like it was for my mum.
Good. Well, it's yours to take home now.
Thank you so much.
All right. You
Thanks
take
a lot.
care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
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 Bless her.
When I saw it, it just made me feel like I was 5 again. Those memories of my mum and her jewellery, and my mum was such a lovely mum. I just loved it so much. And, you know, having it repaired just means I can go on loving it.
For Susie, it's been painstaking work easing away the wafer-thin leather on the lid of the Victorian Shakespeare library case.
That's a moment to remember. I had to employ the tried and tested Fletcher double glasses because the work was so fine. I know my brother always uses 2 pairs of glasses, but I remember my dad using 2 pairs of glasses, and I can see why. Definitely helped. Now what I want to do is make a template, because we've got these significant areas where we're actually missing some of the leather, and I want to be able to cut out leather that will fit into these particular shapes. So I'm happy with how this is looking. So I'm going to put that somewhere safe, because now I'm going to focus on lining what remains of the lid so that I can then mount the replacement bits of leather onto it, and it'll be securely held on one piece of leather. Because of the fragility of this old leather, I only have one shot at gluing, and that makes me rather anxious. And it's so important that I get this glued on perfectly. So let's bite the bullet. It's nothing like having to work fast with something as fragile as this. I do find, as something starts to come together, that sense of relief, and I start to breathe again. Excellent. So I'm just going to let this fully dry. While that's drying, I can go back to sorting out the lid with some padding underneath and then the leather put on top. The padding I'm using is a little different from the original, and I borrowed this piece from the teddy bear ladies. One of the many benefits of us all working together is someone generally will have something that will fit the job. Let's get this centered up. Just need to get it in the right position. So I'm just trying to get that bend right on that edge. There you go. I'm going to have to keep pressing all the way around and encourage it to bond without stressing the old leather here. I can then let it dry and trim the excess up. I'm really pleased with that. Now I could get on and start to replace these missing portions. I got the template here that I took from the lid. And just cut that shape out. I've got some leather here that I've got dyed up. On this edge here, the edge is actually darker than in the middle here. So I'm going to try and match that. This is much darker than this area. So I'm putting the pattern to try and emulate that darker edge. That line runs around about there. Okay. I have to say, I am very, very pleased with how this is looking. I've still got a really long way to go, but I'm quietly confident by the time I've finished, it's going to be beautifully blended in. I'll let that dry, and I'll focus on doing the same on this larger side here.
David's credentials as a rocket scientist are about to be tested as he prepares the flying saucer for liftoff.
I've got to start really from the ground up, and I've got the rebuilt battery box, but I won't really know until it all goes back together if it's actually going to work. Now that motor's back in, the last thing left is to put the top back on, but I've got to reassemble the dome. Hopefully now it's polished up a little bit, he should be able to see more where he's going and maybe even boldly go where no one else has been. That's the top on. Moment of truth. We have liftoff. I could really see when Steve received that as a kid. That must have been so amazing. Only thing left to do is to put his little aerial on, and then at least he'll be able to phone home. I'm looking forward to handing it back to Steve. I think he's going to be really pleased with that.
Many moons ago, the flying saucer was a gift to a 7-year-old from doting grandparents. But years of intergalactic travel had left it corroded and earthbound.
David, is this flying saucer going to work? Is it going to take off?
What we're after.
I can't wait to see it.
Now Steve and his grandson Albert have their sights set on a new space age.
Whoa, look at this. In we go.
Hi.
There we go. Hello there.
Hello.
This is Albert. He's my grandson. He's 7 years old now.
So you were actually the same age when you received this as Albert is now?
Absolutely, yeah.
Are you excited?
Very excited.
You are very excited, aren't you?
Yes.
No pressure, David. You know, just,
No, that's it. So do you think it's time that we undo it?
Yeah.
Here we go. Ready?
Wow, Albert, look. Shall we go and have a closer look? Look at that. Got that lovely shiny paint. Wow. You can pick it up if you want. It's all right to pick it up, yeah?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, look.
How do these turn on?
Well, in a minute, I think we might find out whether it's going to work. To be honest, this is just incredible. It looks like a brand new toy out of the box, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Shall we see if it works? Can we, David?
Yeah.
Not doing.
Shall we try? Now then, I think you could have the honour of doing this. That switch there, you push it across, and when you do, you dip. There he goes, Albert. Look at that. Look at that. He turns round. Brilliant. Look who's steering it. Look, the little man's steering it. Wow, look at that. How good is that? Your memories come flooding back, don't they?
Yeah.
It just takes you back to that time, so it's very special, isn't it? What do you think of that?
It's so
Good, isn't it?
A bit loud.
It is loud, isn't it?
I never actually thought I'd see it like this again. I really didn't. And this time the batteries will get taken out, so it will get looked after.
That's the most important
Absolutely,
thing.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, that is yours to take away.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, really, sincerely, thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Come on then, off we go.
Goodbye.
Take care.
Thank you so much. Nice to see you
See
again.
you later.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
You sad to see that one go?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was great. Yeah, that was right. I loved that. Loved it.
It just exceeded all my expectations and brought so many lovely memories flooding back. Memories of my grandparents, and they were very special people in my life. Still are, even to this day. I have lovely memories of them. And the flying saucer is just part of that story. So to be able to share that with Albert, it's just, what could be better? Wonderful.
Susie's Shakespearean masterpiece of a restoration has reached its final act.
Well, I've got the majority of the case finished now. There's still areas where there's a little bit of a gap. I felt that I needed to keep it quite honest. All that's left for me to do now is to figure out what sort of catch I'm going to put on here. The beauty of not having anything that you have to emulate is that you have a certain amount of artistic license. So now I've got my design here. I can go ahead and get this glued into position. Get that exactly in the centre there. Beautiful. Lovely. The books need a little bit of a clean and it'll be ready to hand back to Isla.
Over more than a century, the case of this exquisite miniature of Shakespeare's complete works had fallen to pieces. Now Isla's back for curtain up on the revival of her grandmother's needlework prize.
So what do you think?
That's sweet, isn't it? Look at it.
It's very lovely.
There she is.
Hello again. Hello. Lovely to see you, Isla. Lovely to see you too.
Have you two been talking about what you're going to wear?
We're just ladies of style.
We just like pink.
Okay. How you feeling?
really excited, actually. I mean, it was very important to my grandmother.
Right.
And if she were here, she'd be so excited as well to be seeing it.
I'm very keen to show it to you.
Right.
Go on, Suze.
Goodness, that is so clever. Because it's not new.
No.
There's the history of the damage. And that's perfect. Oh, look. And it's got its hinge back again. Oh, goodness me. That is so clever. And you know, the one person who would be saying exactly what I'm saying is my grandmother. She was clever with her hands herself, and she would know that this had been in the hands of an expert. She absolutely would love
it. Speechless. Love it.
Well, anybody who knows me knows that's not a characteristic that's normally true. Thank you so much.
Really enjoyed it because it is so beautiful. So you're very lucky.
Well, I think it partly belongs to both of us.
Oh, that's very sweet, thank you.
But you can't have it.
You give it and then you take it away.
Thank you once again.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
You take care now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I can't tell you how marvellous I think that box looks now. My grandmother would have been absolutely delighted to see it repaired so sympathetically. This was important to her, so I've treated it as being important to me for those that follow as well. I think it's just fantastic, fantastic.